Tian felt extremely frustrated. Even though he had transmigrated into the cultivation world and become the esteemed 13th prince of the Great Yan Empire, located in the eastern region of this world, being a noble prince should have been a joyous thing with a comfortable life. The truth, however, was quite the opposite. The reason for his deep frustration was that the body of the 13th prince, which his soul now inhabited, belonged to someone universally known and accepted by everyone as an incomparably unlucky person. Looking back at the past, the situation wasn't always this terrible. Consort Lan, the mother of the 13th prince, was originally the #1 beauty of the Yan Empire. Her beauty was renowned throughout the land, and because of this, she became Emperor Yan's most favored consort. Her status and power in the royal palace were so high and secure that they were almost on par with the empress. Judging by the circumstances at that time, even if Consort Lan's son had the ambition to compete for the position of crown prince in the future, there would have been a very high hope of success. However, fate took the most cruel turn. On the day the 13th prince was born, an unexpected tragedy occurred. Consort Lan, the emperor's beloved, suddenly passed away from severe hemorrhage. This massive loss altered the infant's destiny forever. Ever since that sorrowful day, the 13th prince became the son whom Emperor Yan least wanted to meet or lay eyes upon. His once glorious status in the royal palace plummeted to the abyss, becoming endlessly negative. To make matters worse, as the 13th prince gradually grew up, bizarre and unlucky incidents intensified and increased in number. His bad luck literally defied the laws of nature. For example, there was a time when the 13th prince kept an incredibly beautiful and precious spiritual pet. It was a fire spirit bird, a sacred bird born of and possessing the power of flames. Yet, this fire elemental spiritual beast somehow ended up dying by drowning in the royal garden. A firebird dying from drowning was so paradoxical and inexplicable that it could only be described as the absolute peak of bad luck. And the streak of misfortune did not stop there. Another time, he dedicated himself to cultivating a dream-auspicious peony, an extremely precious and rare spiritual plant, hoping for it to bloom beautifully. But then, out of nowhere, a chubby bear cub ran in mischievously and completely uprooted his precious peony, destroying it right before his eyes. Everything he tried to create or cherish was always destined to be ruined for completely unpredictable reasons. The 13th prince's level of misfortune was so severe that it escalated into a disaster for those around him. One day, he simply followed his brother princes to study at the Royal Academy as usual. Unbelievably, on that very day, the ancient and sturdy Royal Academy building completely collapsed just as he stepped his foot inside. This was a level of bad luck capable of instantly destroying the most stable of places.
With such a miserable destiny, the 13th prince's path of cultivation was naturally far from smooth. He had to face grueling obstacles time and again. By calculation, today marked exactly the 888th time he experienced chi deviation, fire deviation. The original 13th prince was a determined individual who believed in the motto, "My fate is up to me, not the heavens." However, his strong will could not withstand the agonizing pain consuming his body. In the end, he couldn't overcome it this time and collapsed, breathing his last breath and losing his battle against his own destiny.
When the original soul perished, what replaced it in the 13th prince's body was the soul of Shen, a young man who had transmigrated. He was a resolute and well-educated youth from the 21st century. He held a proud principle of never kneeling to anyone except heaven, earth, and his parents. But right now, the moment he woke up on the bed, he only felt an intense pain erupting from his abdomen. The agony was so severe that he could barely move. His throat was so parched that he had to struggle to utter a hoarse voice. "Water. I need water."
Upon hearing that faint call, an old eunuch hurriedly walked over with a teacup, stopping beside the bed with utmost concern. He gently supported Shen to sit up with care, saying, "Here is the water. Your Highness, please drink slowly." This old eunuch was named Eunuch Gui. He was the head eunuch of this Pure Heart Palace. More importantly, when this palace fell to its lowest point, he was the only eunuch who stood his ground and continued to loyally serve the prince. It could be said that Eunuch Gui was the one who personally nurtured and raised the 13th prince with his own hands.
After drinking some water to quench his thirst, Shen Tian felt his body gradually regain strength and improve significantly. He gazed at the old eunuch standing before him. But suddenly he paused, and his eyes widened in shock. In the fragmented memories of the original body's owner, the story of Eunuch Gui was completely intact. Eunuch Gui had entered the palace to serve since he was a child, working there for over 50 years. In the past, Consort Lan had saved his life. Because of this, he dedicated himself and offered his profound loyalty to the 13th prince. However, in all of the 13th prince's memories, this Eunuch Gui never had such a bizarre halo floating above his head.
Yes, what appeared before Shen Tian right now was a mysterious glowing halo floating above Eunuch Gui's head. It looked similar to the halos often depicted above the heads of angels in paintings, only its color was entirely wrong, as this halo was radiating a bright green light. Shen Tian could only look at the sight in front of him with pure perplexity. How could such a supernatural thing appear?
Are my eyes playing tricks on me? Shen Tian quickly thought to himself. He vigorously rubbed both of his eyes to regain his senses and adjust his vision. But when he opened his eyes to check again, he still found the bright green halo floating prominently above Eunuch Gui's head without disappearing. It was obvious that his eyes weren't deceiving him. Realizing this, Shen Tian seemingly thought of something and immediately ordered Eunuch Gui. "Uncle Gui, could you please fetch me a mirror?"
As soon as Eunuch Gui placed a large mirror in front of him, the reflection of the person in the mirror appeared before his eyes. In that very second, Shen Tian thoroughly understood why this 13th prince had such an unlucky life and was so envied by the heavens. It was because he was handsome, incomparably handsome. Since Consort Lan was once the #1 beauty of the empire, the 13th prince, as her son, perfectly inherited those dominant beauty genes. Even at just 16 years old, his demeanor and face were the very epitome of a man more beautiful than anyone else in the world. This face was so incredibly handsome that Shen Tian, while looking in the mirror, actually felt a pressure as heavy as being crushed by an entire mountain.
However, that handsomeness was not the main issue to focus on right now. The real issue that left Shen Tian completely terrified was the discovery that above his own head in the mirror's reflection, there was also a halo floating, just like Eunuch Gui's. But his halo wasn't a peaceful green one, nor was it a brilliantly radiant golden one like other transmigrating protagonists usually had. Instead, it was a pitch-black halo, emitting a thick, dark aura that relentlessly churned and swirled. It looked as if it had trapped all the bad luck and ominous things inside. Shen Tian recalled a term from traditional Chinese medicine texts about a darkened yin-tong, which signifies a physiognomy of gloom and severe illness. The thing on his head was definitely nothing good. This creepy, suffocating, and gloomy aura made him instantly realize, I must be a fake protagonist. If he dared to walk outside radiating this black aura, I would undoubtedly be struck to death by lightning easily.
Paranoia over the halo of misfortune floating above his head made Shen Tian abandon any thoughts of going outside or even cultivating to find treasures. He concluded that with his currently fragile body, just eating carelessly could cause him to choke to death. He told Eunuch Gui to leave first and firmly decided to stay calmly in bed to recuperate. For a whole month, Shen Tian acted like an extremely good boy. He didn't secretly cultivate, didn't run around, and never even stepped a foot out of bed. Under Eunuch Gui's care and herbal decoctions, his body gradually recovered fully. But after a full month had passed, his patience completely ran out. A world without phones, computers, or even novels to read was so boring it drove him nearly insane. Life was precious, yes, but freedom had an even higher price. Finally, Shen Tian couldn't take it anymore. He made a resolute decision and shouted loudly in his mind, "I am going out for a walk."
If you enjoyed this video, please give us a thumbs up to show your support. And if you don't want to miss out on more fun stories or great insights like this, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Most importantly, don't forget to turn on the notification bell so you'll be the first to know when we drop a new video. Thanks for watching until the end. See you in the next one. Bye for now.